Ladies and gentlemen, Movies with Mark.
Whose voice is that? That says Movies with Mark.
Yeah, we paid an actor.
Who is it?
A paid actor.
A paid actor? Really? You paid him?
Yep.
Oh. Huh.
Just for you.
Thank you. I could have done it. You could have paid me.
Oh, well,
We'll do a new one.
we'll do a new one.
So the film we're doing, class, the film we're doing this week is Arsenic and Old Lace, chosen by Morgan and her friend Celeste, who is going to magically appear.
Of Hex and Arcane, the mysterious witch sisters, Morgan and Celeste Parker.
The Parker sisters. Oh, you're both Morgan Parker and Celeste Parker. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we are horror hosts.
Do you like this movie because you're like the two sisters in the movie, and you invite gentlemen into your house and give them elderberry wine? Is that why you like it?
Confirm that, but
you would have fun doing that?
She said she can't confirm
maybe a
that.
little.
Oh, you can neither confirm nor deny. Okay, good. I got you.
Plausible deniability, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I was fascinated that you chose this movie as a horror movie, because I've loved this movie for decades.
Right.
And I don't think of it as a horror movie, but it's a great comedy.
Oh yes. Cary Grant, he's hilarious in this.
Cary Grant is hysterical in it. He's so over the top, and he was very concerned. You probably know all this, but he was very concerned about his performance,
right?
Because he was so over the top. Because Capra encouraged him to go as far as he could, and he does just phenomenal stuff in it. It's so bold and so brave. And we probably wouldn't have this movie, wouldn't be talking about it. It wouldn't be as good as it was if it hadn't been for Pearl Harbor. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
They started shooting it they shot it in 1941, and they were not quite finished when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And Capra had already enlisted, seeing war coming. He had already been contracted by the Navy, I think, to shoot a series of documentaries about the Navy. And he needed to leave to shoot those, especially after the war started. Everybody mobilized, so he used what he had. He later has said, according to some people, that if he'd had more time, if it hadn't been for the United States entering the war, he might have gone back and used different takes and toned down Cary Grant's performance.
Oh wow!
So because he had to go off to shoot documentaries about the war, he left Cary Grant's performance pretty much the way it was when they shot it.
Wow.
And thus we have this sort of really great I think he does a cartwheel in the middle of the movie somewhere. I mean, he just sort of goes, oh, and does a cartwheel.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And when he's tied to the chair too, he's all over the place. Still
yeah, he's everywhere. Yeah, he's tied to the chair. He spends 15 minutes just tied in the chair going, whoa, 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 trying to talk through the gag.
Did we mention the name of the movie yet?
Arsenic and Old Lace.
Okay.
Shot, as I said, in 1941. So it was completed in 1941, or beginning in 1942. It was supposed to come out in 1942, but because of the war, they didn't I think it was because of the war, they didn't release it at the time because they didn't think it was appropriate to sort of have this much fun when America was just entering the war. So it really wasn't released until 1944. And it went over great. And you and your sister Celeste, who is somewhere out in the wilds of Wisconsin making her way to your home, I'm told. I hope the bears of Grafton don't get her. Do you have bears in Grafton?
We had a bear run through Grafton a couple years back.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, they shot it over on Burleigh in Milwaukee. It went through Grafton, Cedarburg, and down close to the zoo.
I wasn't aware.
No kidding. Long way. That's a bear. And they shot it, killed it, or they
Oh, they
tranquilized
tranked it.
tranked it and took it back up to Green Bay where it belongs.
Yeah, it was lost.
Right.
I think we're a little bit south of Grafton, Celeste and I. We're in Burlington. So
Oh, in
we're
Burlington.
Yep, we're close to like the Illinois border there. And
Oh,
we
you're
have-
way down there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We have a cougar in my neighborhood. Sometimes I'll catch it on the security camera and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the DNR tells me we don't have them out here, and I send them the videos, and they're like, "That's a cougar. That is a cougar."
Right.
Molly's about 3 years from being a cougar.
Yeah, I was going to ask for her number.
Rude.
Uh,
Oh, rude.
remind me to send Molly a birthday present. And you better too.
Yeah.
Yes, Arsenic and Old Lace is the name of the movie, based on a play. I can't remember who wrote the play. It's so far away, but
Yeah.
it's such a great movie. It's in a couple of people's 100 favorite movies. Like AFI, I think, puts it in their 100 funniest movies of all time. Excuse me. And the play is done over and over and over again in summer stock theaters all over. Have you ever done the play, Morgan?
No. I grew up watching the movie, and
Right.
the neighborhood kids and I we'd reenact it. We thought it was hilarious to do that, but
Yeah. But
yeah,
excuse me. I don't think of it as a horror movie, as I said at the beginning,
right.
but Capra does. Frank Capra, for anybody who doesn't know the movie, Frank Capra directed it. If you don't know who Frank Capra is, you should go to the corner and turn your face to the corner and sit down and don't come out until you know who Frank Capra is. And if you think I'm being hard on you, I probably am. Frank Capra directed a little movie called It's a Wonderful Life that probably everybody knows. Mr. Deeds Goes to Town. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Mr. Deeds Goes to Town. What other movies? So many. Some turkeys like Shangri-La. But you know the story on Shangri-La? He just cut the last reel and it became a success. He did a screening up at in Santa Barbara, I think it was, and determined afterwards just to cut the last reel. So he cut a reel out of it, shortened the movie, cut the ending, and he had a movie. Anyway,
Wow.
so it's done in summer stock everywhere. It's one of the great over-the-top performances. Nobody but Cary Grant could have done a performance anywhere near as good as this. And Capra liked him for it because he was an acrobat, because he wanted to do. He'd been an acrobat before he became an actor. And do you know what Cary Grant's real name is?
No.
Archibald.
I've
Leach?
heard it.
Is it
Archie Leach.
Yeah.
Look at
Wow,
you, William.
nice,
Good job.
William.
And they had so much fun doing this movie that there's a gravestone. Go back and look at it and slow it down, because in the graveyard, Cary Grant's two aunts, played by the miraculous Josephine Hull and the equally miraculous Gina Dare, live in an old house in Brooklyn next to a graveyard, one of the oldest houses. They keep flashing the date at the beginning, 1642. But it's in one of the oldest houses in Brooklyn. And the whole opening of the movie, just to circle back to, it's not a horror movie, but Frank Capra called it a Halloween movie. It says it's a Halloween movie, and the only nod to Halloween is kids come to the door or to the window of the kitchen to get their treats, and the sisters give them an entire pie
And
The
whole
big
jack-o'-lanterns, too.
jack-o'-lanterns. Yeah.
and whole pumpkins and whole jack-o'-lanterns. That's right. They don't know anything about half measures. They're in whole hog, as they say. They do the
I
whole.
love the sisters. I thought they were great.
Oh, the sisters are so great. Oh,
Really,
they're
I really
they're so wonderful.
What they
And-
say,
Out of the back window instead of the front
No,
door.
no, it was a
I
door.
know.
It was one.
I
Of those,
know.
it looked like it was one of those half doors
It
where you
was
could
a half
open the
door.
top.
Yeah,
That's where it was. Yeah.
yeah,
want
out the
cherry?
back door. But they do come to the back door rather than the front door. The only people who come to the front door are the police and the And the people from the insane, Celeste, the lovely and talented Celeste.
Yes.
Welcome. Thank you.
No,
we
I'm
still
here.
can't
I'm
see
here.
her. We can't hear her. I can see her. We can't hear her.
She's messing with you.
She's messing with you.
Oh, what'd she do? Oh, she's being quiet again.
Yeah. Well, like how you're saying the ants are all in. They had that. They said the one guy lived long enough to tell him that the wine tasted great.
Right. Because the story, and it doesn't matter if it's spoilers, but these two wonderful aunts, the aunts of Cary Grant, and Cary Grant, who the very opening of the movie is standing in line to be married to Priscilla Lane. It's the last movie that Priscilla Lane ever made.
Oh.
And I lived when I grew up in New Jersey, I lived on a street called Standish, and there was a little alley next to my house that you had to drive down to get into the driveway. And the name of that alley was Priscilla Lane. And do you know that? Did you live on Priscilla Lane? Celeste squeaked. I thought maybe. No.
That's cool. That's cool. But no, I have not lived in New Jersey at all.
Do you know who Priscilla Lane was? Besides the actress in Arsenic and Old Lace?
No.
If I have this correct, Miles Standish and what's his name, Brewster in Plymouth. This is the story we were told when we were kids around Thanksgiving. Miles Standish had a big crush on Priscilla Lane. He loved Priscilla Lane. She was a woman who lived in this town, a single young woman. And but he was too shy. Do you know who Miles Standish was? Kids today, man.
I'm going to the corner.
Sorry.
Yeah, all of you go to the corner and sit with Frank. Okay, never mind. Well,
I remember him somewhere from history. Miles Standish.
yeah, you should.
Absolutely.
Miles Standish was one of the big main sort of guys in Plymouth. When the Pilgrims first came over to the United States and landed on Plymouth Rock and set up this thing, and Squanto taught them how to plant corn and put a fish in there. All those, didn't you do those pageants when you were in grade school and elementary school? Oh, well.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's been so long ago, though.
So Miles Standish was a big chest beating general.
That's an excuse.
Did you do them?
No, I was homeschooled. That's my
Yeah.
excuse.
I was gonna say,
You were homeschooled? Okay.
I always got the part of the Indian.
Yeah. Because you're short?
And Native American, I think. And the UN.
Okay.
Yep. So you'd be good over there.
But Miles Standish was a chest thumping big hero guy, and John Alden was a rather meek, very good friend of his. And Miles Standish came to John Alden and said, "John, I really love Priscilla Lane. Would you go to her and propose for me? Tell her that I love her and I want to marry her." And John Alden went to Priscilla Lane and said, "My friend, Miles Standish, he kind of likes you. He thinks you have a well-turned ankle, and he thinks you have a nice smile, and he'd like to marry you. And can I tell him that you reciprocate his feelings?" And Priscilla Lane looked at him and said, "Speak for yourself, John," and turned and walked away. In other words, and Priscilla Lane and John Alden ended up getting married, having lots and lots of babies. We're probably all related to them. So that's the story of Priscilla Lane. A bit of a digression, Molly. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Molly's always cracking the whip to get me to go faster.
Me too.
Oh, did we bore you? Sorry, Tom.
I'm having fun.
Good. So anyway, so the story of Arsenic and Old Lace. At the beginning, Cary Grant's character, Mortimer Brewster is his name, apparently a well-known drama critic, and according to the movie, a well-known drama critic because he's kind of trying to disguise himself ridiculously in the line at City Hall to get married. He and Priscilla Lane get married, and they come home, and they live on opposite sides. They grew up together in this house. Cary Grant grew up in the house with his two aunts. We never really know what happened to his parents, but who cares? Priscilla Lane lives in the house on the
mother.
I don't
What?
think they got married because he rushed out of there.
No, they got
No,
married.
they
They
got
went
married.
back.
but they went back.
Okay.
But the aunt
Yeah.
said something about his mother was a servant that
Yeah, he,
Guy.
Oh, that's right.
Found it out
Because
later.
that's right. He was the son of a sea cook.
son of a
Yep.
secret.
well,
That's it.
he
Yeah.
was worried that he had that insanity that ran
Because
through his blood.
everybody in the
Everybody
family.
there was crazy.
Yeah, he was worried about having a 3-headed kid.
Right. Because the two aunts, what are their names? I can't remember their names right now. Anyway, Josephine Hull and Gina Dare have a brother who they call Teddy because he thinks he's Teddy Roosevelt.
Martha and
George.
Eddie Brewster.
Yeah, Martha.
George! And
That's a
Frank
legit,
Frank Capra
like,
believed what?
illness.
You speak, Morgan.
The Teddy Roosevelt syndrome, like that's a legit mental illness.
Oh,
was
is
quite
it called the
common.
Teddy Roosevelt syndrome?
Yes, and it
Really?
was like several Americans thought that they were Teddy Roosevelts
Right.
back in
No
the day.
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Well,
Yeah.
according to Frank Capra, who I think died in 1991, at baseball games and football games, when they do da 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 charge, he believes that they took that from this movie. The movie was that popular,
It's
and
bullying.
probably all those people who think they're Teddy Roosevelt watch the movie.
Well, you
Because
know,
it-
when you said it was a play, it made me think when he ran up those stairs and then the clock, how the clock kind of
Right.
adjusted every time he slammed the door. It's like that looked like a play to me. And it was much louder when he ran up those stairs. It was like
He ran
Kind of-
fast.
he ran fast. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he went. And how many times did he go run up those stairs in the course of? Imagine doing that in the course of a play.
Right.
How many times do you think he biffed and they had to do outtakes on that?
Well, he didn't even slow down to open the door. That was
No, he just
impressive.
went right through.
Oh yeah, no, it was yeah, he's great. I can't remember his name either. Nobody remembers him.
I got
Oh, I
that.
just saw it too.
John Alexander.
Yep.
John Alexander. Okay, yeah. But who else is in this movie? Who's almost as over the top as Cary Grant is Jack Carson, who plays the cop who comes in at the very beginning, the new cop
Okay.
on the beat.
Right.
Yep.
Because everybody else is very naturalistic, if you can consider Raymond Massey
Oh,
naturalistic.
like
Peter
Frankenstein.
Lorre always acts like Peter Lorre, though. Like Peter Lorre always has this thing, and he's one of my favorite actors of all time.
yeah,
so-
he was
Yeah,
great.
he's
I loved
great.
him. He's a
He's
little
great.
guy.
He's a little guy. Oh yeah, well, especially Raymond Massey was a big guy.
Right.
He's a tall guy, but yeah, Peter Lorre is great, and he always has that voice, and he always does. But he has so much fun doing this because I believe he must really be cracking up sometimes when he's cracking up.
Well, like he was shocked why they needed the doctor's signature and they brought him back into society because he was trying to escape. And he's like, all right. I'll sign it.
He reminds me of an
Everybody
early
was
Martin
getting
short.
committed.
He reminds you what?
Of an early Martin short.
Oh yeah, it could be. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think he's much more of a whole human being than Martin Short is.
True.
I'm not crazy about Martin Short. I think he's just half of Steve Martin, really. And you can tell him I said so.
Okay.
He reminded me of Marty Feldman.
Oh.
Oh yeah, he's a little bit like Igor.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, when the cop was describing him, he's worried that they exact his exact height, everything.
I know.
And then they're clueless that he's standing right there in front of them.
Those Irish Brooklyn cops, man. They're all Irish too.
Right.
O'Hara, McNally, whatever his name, the first cops did. And then the Jimmy Gleason, who comes in, who plays the captain or at the end, the policeman at the end. He's another Irishman.
Right.
But yeah, so circling back, we have to circle back a lot because we wander off. But the movie wanders off. So Grant, Cary Grant, that's how I started this whole thing. Cary Grant's real name is Archie Leach, and did I say this? In the graveyard between the two homes of Priscilla Lane, the woman he's going to marry, he marries, and Cary Grant, there's a gravestone that says Archie Leach on it.
Oh.
Did you know that? Go back and watch the movie slow
I saw
motion.
the opening credits, but I didn't put two and two together. I'm like, oh.
And the other, have you ever seen a movie called The Front Page?
No.
No.
Oh, you got to watch it. Go sit in the corner again. Howard Hawks movie, front page, the fastest dialogue movie ever made. Cary Grant, Rosalind Russell, about a newspaper, and Cary Grant plays the editor of a newspaper, and at one point he's on the phone with somebody and says, "Put Archie Leach on it," and the guy on the other end of the phone says, "Archie Leach died last week," and then Cary Grant says, "Oh, all right." It's another hysterical performance by Cary Grant, who is just so funny.
He is funny. I like Jimmy Stewart.
But he's afraid he'll inherit the gene, the madness gene, because his two aunts and his uncle are both mad, and he thinks he's and what?
And the brother.
Oh, and his brother. That's right, because his brother shows up, Raymond Massey. Boris Karloff did the part on Broadway.
Oh.
And they wanted Boris, and Josephine Hull and Gina Dare also did their parts on Broadway. Everybody else is newly cast for the movie. They gave Gina Dare and Josephine Hull an out to come to California and shoot the movie, but they wouldn't let Boris Karloff out of the movie, of the play, I mean, because he was one of the producers. So Raymond Massey played it, and there's a line late in the play where somebody says, "He looks like Boris Karloff." And Raymond Massey goes crazy, and that's when they actually he starts a fight they bonk him on the head. That's right.
I like that he was so pissed off that he didn't kill more people than his aunts.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. He gets in a competition with them because the ants have poisoned. What is it? 12. They have 12 people in the basement. They kill them with elderberry wine, but they're very humane about it. I mean, they're doing them a favor. They're unfortunate young men who are living on the street, homeless. They invite them in. They gives them some tea and cakes and a little elderberry wine, laced with arsenic, strychnine, and something else. There's like three different
Cyanide.
Yeah.
And cyanide. That's right, 3 different poisons. So they kill them quickly, except for the one guy who lived long enough to say, "I like the wine."
Yeah.
What did he? Is that what he says?
Yeah, and I love how nonchalant they are. Like, "Oh yeah, no, nothing to worry about," and they're just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Such a lovely man." Like,
Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll just have Teddy Roosevelt bury him in Panama.
Yep.
I was just going to say nonchalant to the point that they're admitting to the police like it's nothing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, there's 12 bodies down there. Yeah.
Yeah. They know enough to say. And my favorite piece in the whole movie of Cary Grant is because his brother, Raymond Massey, and Peter Lorre, who come together later on in the movie, they enter, but they bring a dead body with them, don't they? Or did they kill?
Yeah,
Mr. Spinoza.
Yep.
The famous philosopher. And they put him in the window seat in the window where the ants always put their bodies before they get help to take them down in the basement and bury them in Panama because of Teddy Roosevelt, their brother, they bury him in Panama, excuse me. And there's a moment when somebody refers to the window seat, look in the window seat, and Cary Grant runs because he doesn't want the police to see. The police are there at the house a lot. He doesn't want the police to see the body because he believes it's the body of his aunt put in there. Or no, it's a body that, anyway, he knows there's a body in there. But at the same time, his brother, whose name I can't remember, Raymond Massey, runs and sits on the, what's his name? Jonathan, that's right. They have such, Mortimer and Jonathan. They have such great names. But Jonathan runs and sits on the seat too. And Cary Grant does this long take where he looks at him and he realizes what he ran to the thing at the same time I ran to the window seat. He's hiding it. Maybe it's his body in there. It's just this gorgeous, long, totally committed take. Only Cary Grant could do that and would try to do that. And Frank Capra encouraged him to do it and let him do it.
I have to say, my favorite moment, I laughed so hard, was when she's like, "Why are you always trying to kick me out of the house?" And he's like, "I am not kicking you out now. Will you get out of the house?"
Right. Here's your hat. What's your hurry? Right.
Yeah.
Well, when they were carrying that body down, Jonathan and Peter Lorre, the guy, it was kind of shadows and dark, and then he kind of looked like he was backing down
Yeah,
the
he was being
stairs.
careful.
And I'm like, what is he backing down the stairs? And then you just hear him tumble down the stairs.
That was my
It made me laugh. It just made me laugh.
because he was being so careful. I'll go backwards so I don't fall, and then the door shut.
As soon as the door closed, you just heard him tumbling down the stairs.
Yeah, there's really not a moment in it that's left unexplored for its comedic value, I think, all the way through. and I suspect that on Broadway, it ran for, I think it ran for, that's why it opened in 1944. Sorry. It opened in 1944 because the contract for the rights to the play were that they could not release the movie until after the play had closed. And the play was a huge hit and ran for 3 years and didn't close until 1944. So as soon as the play closed, that's when they were able to release the movie. That's why they released it late.
Okay.
That's so neat.
Yeah. No, it's cool to know all those little things. But I
Mark,
suspect that the play, I've never seen the play in summer stock or anywhere, but I suspect it's just as wild and crazy and insane and funny as it is in the movie, I suspect.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Mark, you're like a trove of information. This is so fun.
True.
My brother, who lives with me, we call him Google Guy, because if you're watching a movie or if you're just talking and you say, I wonder what happened. His iPad or his laptop is never more than 6 inches away from him, and he looks it up. And he does a deep research on films like this and on any film we watch, and can tell you all kinds of wonderful stories. So I've gotten a lot of these stories from him. It's not like I was there at the time.
Right.
I'm not that old. I may feel that old. I may even look that old, but I'm not that old. But
I feel like I'm 80, but
but I love. It's great to know all these things that go on behind the scenes. I mean, I love the idea of them having so much fun as to put a headstone in the graveyard that says Archie Leach.
yeah. The Easter eggs, they're always so fun.
Yeah.
So I have a question about the cab driver throughout the movie. Just trying to collect his, and it's like, I'm thinking that's 1944. That's a lot of money. What was it, 22 something?
He said
$22.50, yeah.
$5 more and you own it. He said.
Yeah, $5 more and you own it. And then Cary Grant saying something like, "No, it wouldn't fit me." Like, what is he having a different conversation with him?
He is, because he's in a different.
He's in a whole different universe.
Yeah.
I mean, and who knows? Cary Grant could very well have ad-libbed that. Have you watched Marx Brothers movies?
Oh yeah,
It doesn't have to make sense
right.
Yeah.
To me,
to be funny.
it reminded me of the Abbott and Costello, the Who's on First.
Right. Yes.
All the
Yes.
back and forth and the confusion and the crazy that,
Yeah, that's a good. I'm glad you brought up Abbott and Costello, because my son and I were talking, because he doesn't think of this. He thinks of this as a Halloween movie, and it's one of his favorite movies of all time. He doesn't think of it as a horror movie necessarily. He and I had a big conversation last night about genres, but the other horror movie that we love is Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. Have you seen that ever?
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
Which is hysterical and very funny. I think this is funnier, but it's great. Frankenstein, the werewolf, and Dracula all show up.
nice.
Awesome.
What happened? Is there somebody
Oh, we
coming
got
in
a
your
stink
ceiling?
bug in the house.
You have what?
A stink bug? I don't know if
Oh.
you've seen, have they made their way out by you yet?
No.
Okay, yeah, they're like these little, they're about this big. I guess they look like little tanks. I guess that's the
Yeah.
best way I can explain it. But if you squish them, they reek something terrible.
But if
Oh,
you
wow.
pet them, they're fine.
Yeah. You got them, they're okay. But they're considered
Well,
invasive, so it's like,
How do you get rid of them? Or you just live with it?
You suck them up with a vacuum.
Oh,
I wrap them up in a
Vacuum
piece of toilet
stinks.
paper and flush them.
and flush them. Okay, they don't. But you don't squeeze them, because then they stink.
Yeah, like
Right.
a dead body. Like, whoa.
Wow.
It's pungent. Like, whew.
What a great defense mechanism. Of course, you're dead, but
Yeah.
It doesn't help them.
It's called revenge.
Remember a lesson and not do it again.
Your own revenge.
Revenge bugs.
yeah, exactly. So what else can we say about this movie?
I
Arsenic
thought
and
it
Old
was
Lace.
great how Elaine, his new wife, found the bodies in the basement, and all he did was keep kissing her until she just let it go.
Carries her
Yeah.
around, and drags her outside. She's still trying to talk. He didn't want the police to know what's going
That's
on.
right. He just
This was
kisses
so
her right
good.
outside,
Like,
all the
wow.
way out into the graveyard.
The moment she's just like, oh, and then she just.
It is our wedding night.
That's right.
That's
There
right.
are 13 bodies down there. I saw them.
And the contrast between the house that she lives in on the other side of the graveyard
Yeah.
and his aunt's house is just because it looks perfect and immaculate, and you're sure that she's had just a wonderful upbringing, the sort of American dream kind of upbringing, and just across the graveyard is this total madhouse.
Wasn't the
Yeah.
father her dad that's in the beginning?
The priest.
The
Yeah.
priest?
Oh, is that her dad? Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was talking to the aunts at the beginning and basically kind of saying that he didn't want Mortimer to marry his daughter.
Oh,
think.
I missed that completely.
He
Very
couldn't have been
good.
a priest.
Good pickup.
Yeah.
Should not be
He's
taking
some
any
type of
man's
a
daughter
minister.
anywhere, ever.
That's right. So he must be the minister of the church, and she grew up and the graveyards are always in back of the church. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Cary
The
Grant
aunt's
didn't seem like a good
cabinet.
person.
The
They
what?
make a real, at the
Yeah,
beginning, they make Capra makes a real celebration about Brooklyn too, which always has thought of itself as the second biggest city in the country, they call themselves, because they don't want to be part of New York. They think of themselves as independent of New York. And
From
isn't there a caption on the screen, and now we return to the real world, and they go across the river to New York or something like
Oh, I
that?
love the caption that says, it basically said, "We're done explaining. You're on your own. Now pay
Yeah,
attention."
you're on your own from here on out.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll pay attention.
Yeah, and Grant, on I think at least 2 occasions, looks right at the camera and does like, "Can you believe this is going on?"
Mhm.
And so it's real, yeah, it's real audience participation, real directed arrest. It's farce. It's open. It's real theatrical farce, and it's just wonderful. I'd give it the top grade, whatever grade you can give it.
We
A
go on
comedy.
a 5.
I would give it.
5.
What?
We normally do out of 5. We've been
Yeah, that's right. Out of 5.
Mark's giving it a 5.
I give it a 5,
I
definitely.
give it a 5.
5.
Molly.
I give it a 5 as well. I think that this time around, my favorite part was watching Tom watch it for the first time because he'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
Did he like it? Did Tom like it?
He loved
Yeah.
it. He was smiling like a fool and just
I didn't think old movies were that funny, so I got to give it a 5. I almost gave it a 4.5 because I got really bad anxiety during it.
me too. Me too. It made me anxious.
It did. It
It made me kind of.
but then I'm
anxious.
like, okay, it's giving me feelings, so this is good, even though it's anxiety.
What
But-
was your anxiety about? Do you know?
Just almost
the
getting
pace
caught.
of it. The
like,
pace of it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, it should do that. I mean, it's very
"Gotta
kinetic.
catch 'em, get it." I was just getting very anxious.
You're a sweet guy, Tom. Your looks belie that, but you are.
Thanks.
Ah.
I thought Cary Grant was going to end up in the mental house.
I
Yeah.
thought maybe that's why Tom was
He's
anxious
just-
because
He's
Cary
gonna
Grant
sign
made him.
himself over and just take me.
Well, he was pretending to be
Yeah.
to make his ants
Well,
look.
there were a lot of signatures. I thought they were going to take him as well. Like he's signing, they're signing,
just signing
everybody's
it.
signing.
These papers are no good. They're made out to Teddy Roosevelt.
That's right. He had to go back.
The doctor's
get-
like, could you tell him to be someone else? We're overloaded and Teddy Roosevelt's here.
We
Right.
have any
Like you
Napoleon.
said, like Morgan said, there were all the Teddy Roosevelts.
Yeah, we could use a Napoleon. We're short on Napoleons.
And do you guys remember the actor who played Mr. Witherspoon, the guy from the mental institution, who's so nice, who comes all the way to the house to bring him home?
Yeah.
Do you know who it was? Who was that, William?
I looked familiar. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Edward Everett Horton.
Okay.
Did you ever watch
He was
Rocky
an
and
older
Bullwinkle?
guy. Yeah, of course.
Did you watch Rocky and Bullwinkle when you were growing up?
Of course.
He was the narrator on Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Okay.
He was the guy who told the stories all the time. He's also in a great Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn movie called Holiday, which was written by the same guy who wrote Philadelphia Story, another Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn movie. But Holiday is really great, has one of the great drunk performances of all time with Lou Ayres, who plays the brother of Katharine Hepburn, who's drunk. Have you guys watched, I can talk to you guys because you're older. You've watched these movies. Have you watched Holiday ever? I'm looking at you, but you don't know I'm looking at you, do you? You have? You've seen Holiday?
Yes,
Yeah,
long
good.
time ago.
Yeah.
But
They're all worth revisiting.
yes.
Especially for you children who don't think old movies, black and white movies, can be funny.
Oh, they
Now-
can.
Now you know.
I love.
Have
the
you
movie-
seen? Sorry.
Oh no.
You talk.
Have you seen? You Can't Take It With You. That's
Oh,
another one
yeah.
of my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that one too.
That was the first play that I got paid a full salary to do as a professional actor.
No way.
Yeah, I played the Jimmy Stewart part, Tony Kirby.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's like my
in
other
Milwaukee,
favorite.
in fact, at Milwaukee Rep.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's
Fun.
so
a
cool.
wonderful play, but such a great film too, with Lionel Barrymore and who plays Alice?
Oh, I hear her voice and I see her face.
Is it Jean Arthur? I think it's Jean
I
Arthur.
think it's Dean Arthur. Yeah.
Yeah, who's a big crush of mine. Yeah, yeah. So I give it a 5. William, what do you say?
I also give it a 5. I watched it twice, actually.
Oh, good.
I normally don't watch another one right after, but I had to watch it again. It tickled me. I give it a 5.
Well, it's one of those movies, like people have said about Animal House, they have to go back and watch it a couple of times because, and when you see it in a theater with a lot of people, you do, because people are laughing so loud, you miss some of the jokes. So you go back and watch it again, so you get the jokes. You get to hear them.
Yeah.
But it certainly is true of this. Oh, good. I'm glad you all like it.
We loved it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think right after we finished it, Tom was like, kind of want to watch that again.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So-
good. Well, yeah. I'm sorry you got anxious, Tom.
It'll happen.
No, I'm sure it will. If it happens in Arsenic and Old Lace, it's liable to happen more severely if you watch Alien.
One of the worst things you can do to me is when a little kid blows up a balloon and it's just getting ready to pop, and I'm like, just no more air, kid. No more air,
Yes.
kid.
You anticipate?
Yes.
Oh, I hate that. I'm like, it's too big. Just
When I was a kid, that would balloons popping, I would like flip out. I'd be like hiding, like go in the other room.
I'm that person that's like, make sure you pick up all those pieces so the animals don't choke on them.
and just blowing more air in, and every breath is just making it worse for me.
You must go nuts when you watch Halloween and Jamie Lee Curtis
Yeah. I
goes
get
in the, don't go in the closet. Don't go in the closet.
anxiety pills.
Yeah, I understand. I empathize with you because I hide behind the seats and cry when horrible things happen.
Me too.
But Arsenic and Old Lace is so funny.
Oh, it was great.
Morgan and Celeste, you said 5,
5.
but did you want to go into any more?
Yeah, do you want to talk about why you like it, or have we talked about it all?
Well, I think I said why I like it, but this was my first time watching it. So I really enjoyed it. I was, when Morgan suggested it, I was like, I have always wanted an excuse to watch that movie. Not like I needed one, but I'm so busy. So I was like, yes, let's do it. And I was so happy that I watched it because it was so funny and it was so good. And it's one of those things where it's like you can see references to it and so many other things. And I think that's one of the important reasons to watch it now, is that there's so many references to it in other things that you'd never know were references to it because it was that iconic.
Right. Yeah. It's good. That's why we need to go back and look at these old movies, so you don't think that the Avengers is the first time that they've done that kind of thing, because they were doing it a long time ago. I wanted to ask you, so you saw it because Morgan suggested you see it, but Morgan, what drew you? How did you find it? How did you find this movie?
I think I've always remembered watching it my entire life. Like every year, it is one of like our Halloween movies in my
Right.
family.
Right.
But I think what continued for me to want to watch into adulthood is it is hilarious. And
Yeah.
I like the humor behind it, like how we were saying they're so nonchalant about, oh yeah, we poisoned him, put him in the basement, blah 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 blah. It's like it's nothing, but that's hilarious. Like,
Oh, it's hysterical. I know.
yes.
Well, now, if you watched it growing up, why didn't your sister Celeste watch it?
Because I was homeschooled. I was always doing my work.
Yep.
But more, you were homeschooled. And, you were a really good student. You were doing homework all the time.
Yeah, she was doing homework. I was out seeking dramatics, I guess, or something. I don't know.
Were you not homeschooled,
No.
Morgan?
No. What? They put me in a boarding school. didn't they?
Yeah.
Your parents just liked you so much, Celeste, they kept you home.
Yeah, they like you.
Different personalities. They have to adjust their parenting style.
I'm not telling you get out of the house, but you got to go.
Right.
But she's sort of one of those people that can teach herself everything. Like you mention any weird, obscure thing, she'll tell you like 10 facts about that you've never heard of, or like, it's like weird movies. She's just like one of those people that just knows everything about weird, random stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's good. That's good. It's great. They're old. Well, you should watch, if you haven't seen His Girl Friday, you should watch His Girl Friday.
Awesome.
And another one you should look at is that you'd like is Theodora Goes Wild
Okay.
with who's it now? William Powell, Melvin Douglas, and Irene Dunn.
Is that like
Oh,
Girls
Irene
Gone
Dunn.
Wild?
What?
Is that like
No.
Girls Gone
What did you say?
Yes, if it's like Girls Gone Wild.
Now I'm embarrassed, Morgan.
The spring break videos with the
Woo!
Oh, yeah. No, it's not. Well, it is like that a little bit.
Oh God.
All right.
Excellent.
Good.
Well, Hex and Arcane, that is the name of your team. Where can we find you?
You can find us all over social media. Look up Hex and Arcane or go to www.hexandarcane for the concentrated evil that'll direct you to everything at once.
.com.
Yeah.
You forgot the .com.
Yeah, that. hexandarcane.com. We're on YouTube. We're on Amazon Prime. We are on, if you have Roku, download Suburban Screams for free, and you'll find us on there, along with other really great shows.
Prime. We're on Prime.
Yep,
Did you say Prime?
I did.
Okay.
We're
she
on
said Prime.
Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook.
Excellent. And Mark, you got some stuff coming up, right?
I do.
I just saw you post something. Didn't you have a festival or
No.
in Dallas?
Who? Oh, in Austin.
Stalking
Awesome.
around.
There was a convention in Austin. Am I late? How am I doing? There was a convention in Austin, but that was last month, I think, in February.
Oh, okay.
And it was canceled because of this thing that's going around,
Oh, that sucks.
The
this
Rona.
virus
Yeah.
that
I call it
everybody
Rona.
seems to have.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I have nothing coming up except this. It's the only thing I have to look forward to.
Excellent. Yeah. Woo!
We look forward
But
to it as well.
speaking of which, what movie should we do next week? Are any of you interested in the Oscars and in the awards and awards season?
We've been doing it every year. I believe I have the trophy right over there, my Oscar trophy.
We
You got? Oh yeah.
No, it's right in front of Molly. There it is. I won
Oh,
the
yeah, here.
Oscars last year.
We
Oh, you
normally
did.
a prediction show where
We do a prediction
we fill
show.
out
and
our
Oh, great.
That is
So
mine.
do you have favorites this year? I mean, does it make sense that there's Oscars this year?
it's a
Because
run-
there are no movies in theaters, right?
Yeah.
No.
Everything's streaming.
Kind of shoots what's his name in the foot?
What's his name?
Steven Spielberg, who was talking about that Netflix and streaming movies shouldn't be allowed in the
Included.
Oscars. He said that last year and the year before.
now they're
Yeah.
gonna
And now they have to be.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
You
So
can't top Shape of Water anyway.
You what?
You can't top Shape of Water when a movie about like fish bestiality wins Best Picture, like that's it.
Well, I think
Yeah.
before the dig, Mark, you had mentioned that we should watch some Oscar-nominated stuff.
Yeah. I haven't looked at the list yet of what's nominated.
It just came out.
It just came out last week.
You have
There's some interest. There's some good films. I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff. I haven't looked at it either, but I know. Well, yeah, I have. The Father is nominated, or Anthony Hopkins is nominated for The Father, and everybody should watch The Father, especially if you have anybody in your family with Alzheimer's
Oh yeah.
or dementia.
Do that
Because
back.
it's a great performance by him. And the interesting thing about the movie is that it's really sort of from the Alzheimer's patient's perspective, point of view.
Oh, wow.
Oh, let's
So-
watch that then, because I'm
Let's
going
watch
through
that.
that hard with my grandpa right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should watch it. And Olivia Colman is in it, who played Queen Elizabeth in The Crown, and she was that other queen and won an Academy Award a couple of years ago. She plays his daughter.
Is it
It's
streaming on like Netflix or is it?
It's on. Oh, is it Netflix? I don't know.
We'll find it.
I get it because it's also nominated for a SAG award, and I get a lot of SAG movies on DVD
We're still good there.
to watch. But no, I watched it. Where did I watch it? I don't know. I can't remember where I watched it. But one that you can get, I think on Prime, you might have to pay for it, that I think is really, really good and challenging is A Promising Young Woman. Have you seen A Promising Young Woman
Have not.
with Carey Mulligan? Really should see it. I think everybody should see it because it's about, what is it about? It's a horror movie. It's about rape revenge is really what it's about.
Okay.
And about rape and about what do they call it? Microaggressions and how women have to manage their way through a minefield of men in the world, and it's funny. It's a great performance by Carey Mulligan.
I would not have
Really great performance, and it.
A funny movie about rape?
Well, it has, yes. Yeah, it's dark. It's darkly funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
wait, were we going
If
to
they
watch
can
The
do that-
Father, though?
Are we watching The Father?
Let's watch The Father.
Okay, we'll watch The Father.
And then we'll put that one on the back burner for maybe.
Yeah, and there's several others you should. There's a lot of them because Netflix has a bunch. I watched one last night, Pieces of a Woman, which is difficult to watch, but I recommend it. I mean, it's a great performance by, I can't remember the woman, English woman, and Shia LaBeouf is in it, who is very fast. But it's what's nice about it is that they would never have made a movie like this even 5 years ago, and given it a full release. But there's a lot of good movies. Women are making a lot of really interesting movies these days. A Promising Young Woman is written and directed by a woman. I think Pieces of a Woman is written and directed by a woman. I can't remember who is, but anyway. So let's watch The Father.
The
Good,
Father.
watch The Father.
Excellent.
Yes.
Can you find it? If you Google it, can you find it?
Molly knows her way around the internet. We'll come up with the movie somehow.
Molly, Al Gore mentioned Molly, I think, when he was talking about how he created the internet.
We found out why the internet was created the other day.
Yeah,
That's right.
the internet was actually created to speak to the other side. They were
Someone-
trying to talk to ghosts and get to the other side, and that's how they created the internet.
That's
The military created it, didn't they?
I believe so, but
Yeah, I think
someone
the army
said
did.
that they were trying to communicate with the other side, and
No kidding.
That is haunted, right?
yeah,
Ed figures.
you've been on it, right? You know it's no good.
No good. It's evil.
Speaking of the other side, and speaking of old movies, black and white movies that are great, have you ever seen a movie called Topper?
Yes.
Have you seen Topper?
Yeah, absolutely. It's hilarious.
Cary Grant. Oh, watch Topper. It's about two really high living, Cary Grant, and I think it's Miriam Hopkins. Is it Miriam Hopkins? Rich couple who are in an automobile accident and die, and they come back as ghosts to haunt their banker, who's played by Charlie Ruggles, and it's hysterical. It's hysterically fun.
Sounds good. That sounds good.
Topper, yeah. Anyway, we'll watch The Father for next week. And are we done, Molly?
Sure. Yeah, you got to come
Yeah,
up
we
with a
gotta wrap
closing
things.
catchphrase
We do need
I
to-
do.
or something. Yeah.
Get cooking.
I like that.
I do too. My ex-wife, who owns Libby, Montana, which is just down the road from you and still runs it, sent me for reasons that I do not understand. Sent me a little message, a blurb, a video of herself preparing a roast beef for the oven. She cooks at the restaurant as well as owns it, and tells everybody what to do. Everybody, she tells what to do. You
That's why
sit
you're
over
halfway
there.
across the country, and she's still sending you stuff. To do.
Yeah, she still tells me what to do. This is how you cook a roast beef. But at the end of it, she said she does this great thing. She says about salt and pepper and rub it in and pet. And if I'm really feeling it, she lifts up the roast beef and takes a handful of salt and pepper and throws it underneath. I do the bottom.
Yeah.
But at the very end of this video, she says, "So get cooking."
All right.
So I thought that should be my catchphrase.
All right.
Get cooking.
Get cooking. No, it doesn't
More
work,
fun
does it?
missed. I mean, you
So I'll see you at the movies, right?
See
There
at
you
the
go.
movies.
See you at the
Oh my
movies. I like
God.
it.
I like it too.
All right.
I think somebody's used that before, but